right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active when that defending, I think, is like. There's always just that active when that defending, I think, is like.
And with an introduction like that, I'm happy to have this guy back on my channel. You know, I thought we would see Timber back in action before him, but African Gooner, what are you saying? Big up you lot in the chats as well, people. Yeah, man, what are you saying, my guy? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, definitely. Thanks for having me back on. I mean, your introduction always gets me super hyped, and I love the new additions. So pretty cool intro. Super excited. Obviously, we got the result that we needed today. So going to be top of the league for a couple more weeks going into international break. And now it's all about doing the business on Tuesday against Porto, man.
Let's start there, man. Let's start there because obviously we've started this video at the right time. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, people, obviously Liverpool and City have just drawn. Obviously that has ramifications for the table. I don't look at the league table, but allegedly we're top on goal difference. What do you think that result means for us?
I think it means a lot because personally, I think Man City is very capable of going on a winning streak until the end of the season. So for me, the two best results were either a draw or Liverpool 3 points, because I see Liverpool still with a lot of injuries. You know, they just don't have the same X factor as Man City. So between the two, I think Liverpool were more likely to drop points. So the draw was the best case scenario, and we got that. So now it's pretty much in our hands. If we beat Man City at Etihad or we don't get beaten and we win the rest of our games, we've won the league.
Is it really in our hands though? Because Liverpool are still top. You just alluded to like City. Obviously, they're the big bad bullies and they're capable of it. Is it really in our hands? Because some people would say, you know, in a 3-horse race, we're third essentially. I know we're top, but yeah.
Yeah, we're top. I think we're top by 1 point. I don't think we're top by goal difference, unless I'm wrong. But I mean,
I don't look at the league table, man.
Yeah, no, I think it's 1 point difference. So for me, I mean, it's gonna go down to the wire, right? I think the next big game is obviously. I think Tottenham also has a big say in this title race because they're playing each one of us, right? So, yeah, for me, this is a good result. I'm not gonna go overboard and say we're gonna win the league, but we're back at it again this season. A lot of rival fans at the beginning of this season said, hey, you know what? Arsenal had a one-off season last year. We're not going to be in the title race. We've had a lot of injuries. I know Liverpool have a lot of injuries right now, but we have had also a lot of big major injuries. You know, sometimes our bench has been really slim, and we've been doing the business, DG. I mean, yesterday, if that's like 3 seasons ago, we draw that game. Like, there's no way we actually pull the win out. But the last 2 seasons, the mentality in this team, like you could tell even the fans in the 8th minute, everyone was already behind the team. Like, we were very confident that we're going to get the win irrespective, you know?
You're bang on the money there, man. I don't know if you've looked, but I'm pretty sure you must have had a vague look at City's games to come, obviously Arsenal's games to come and Liverpool's. And what do you make of our run? Because there's 10 games left. We've got to play City at the Etihad, as you said. We've got to go to Old Trafford, regardless of their form. We don't travel well there. And we've got some other twists and turns, man. How confident are you actually of us seeing this through, man? Do you think this season's different?
Yeah, I think this season's different. I think it's going to be close to 90 points by the end of the season for whoever wins it. And I think if 2 teams make it above 90 points, that's a big title race. There hasn't been a 3-horse title race like this for many, many years. It's always been Liverpool and Man City. Last year, obviously, we know Liverpool dropped off and Arsenal was there to replace them. And then this season, they're back. So I think we're all playing 2 teams in the bottom 5 and we're all playing 1 team in the top 4, top 5. So it's kind of balanced, you know, in terms of the fixtures. And as I said, if we win all our games, which I feel pretty confident apart from the Man City game, I'm feeling confident in all our games, whether it's away, home, it doesn't really matter. We have a system that's working right now. I don't see how Thomas Partey or Jesus get back into this team. It's just, that's the way it is, right? I mean, it's the way the cookie crumbles. These 2 were, you know, some of our most important players over the last few seasons. And this season, whoever's come into the team, even Kiwior, I don't see Zinchenko getting back in this team. Like, Kiwior deserves his spot. He's been playing really, really well. So, yeah, everything's going really well for us. I mean, if I think about 5-10 years ago, this is what I envisioned Arsenal to be one day. Me as a fan watching Liverpool, Man City, not really worried, because at the end of the day, we're in the title race until the final day for me. I mean, that's what I always dreamt of growing up as an Arsenal fan. And we're finally there. And I can really appreciate it because I've seen and I've gone through, like, it's like life. You go through hardships and you become stronger. And that's what this Arsenal team has really done for us. And it's really incredible to be an Arsenal fan now.
I think you're bang on the money, man. It is incredible to be an Arsenal fan. Obviously, Mikel Arteta, we'd be here all day praising him. The boys deserve praise, whether it's regulars who have come who are out of the team and come back in, whether it's been people that have been in the squad and whatnot. Since the break in Dubai, we've been something different. You know yourself, the end of last year was horrible for us, and we've bounced back. And generally this season, we've been ticking over. As much as I like what we've done last season, and obviously not how it ended, what we're doing this year, regardless of what's said, what happens if we don't win the league? Where do we go from there? How do you look at the manager and the players from that point?
Yeah, it all depends on how how it unfolds, right? And I think I also consider the Champions League in this. If we get knocked out against Porto, there's big pressure now going into the final 10 games. If we make it to the next round, the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and we continue winning our games, you know what I mean? It's going to go week by week. At the end of the day, I kind of said to myself, if Arteta doesn't stick to this title race, or we don't make it far in the Champions League, I might have to start questioning him if we don't win any trophies again this season and we spent 200 million. But recently, the way we're playing, even if we don't win a trophy this season, I have to say Arteta gets another year from me, to be quite honest. If we get that final piece of the puzzle, the striker, the world-class target man that we all know we need, let's see what we can do next season. We're obviously going to compete again for the league and the Champions League. I think of course, the only difference for me is next season I want us to be competing in the FA Cup and the League Cup all the way, to the later stages. That's the only thing really I can criticize Arsenal this season on, is that we kind of gave away those games. We should have beaten Liverpool. We know that in the FA Cup. And then West Ham, they played really well against us. And so...
I mean, a couple of comments are talking about Porto, and I've got my notes here. I did plan on asking you about Porto, but it seems like people are restless in the chat. Obviously, It was disappointing away from home against Porto. Whether we were good or not, the narrative is we're losing 1-0. Now, we've got it all to do at the Emirates. How confident are you? And what do you make of Mikel Arteta in Europe? Because I know the Europa League is very different from the Champions League, but he doesn't have the best of record in the knockout stages. So give me all your thoughts in relation to Porto, man.
Dude, absolutely, man. Look, we're doing really well in the league, but we still can't say much when it comes to Europe. We've had so many daggers in the Europa League many times. In the last few years, we should have made semis, maybe even finals. The last final we played, obviously, against Chelsea, and we know how that ended under Unai Emery. So, yes, we're doing really, really well in the Premier League, and we're suffocating teams. We're dominating. We can score 4-5-0. But the Champions League is a different beast, man. People are saying, "Oh, bring us Madrid, bring us Bayern, etc."
Be humble, man. What?
Yeah, we need to be humble. Look, it's our first season back in the Champions League for a long time. Yes, we played really well in the group stage. We kind of killed every team by quite a lot, except for the Lens game. Even though it was kind of, expected that we should have done the business. Porto is a tough team, and we saw how they were committed until the end. They only had one chance, one goal, pretty much. And that's how football works, whether you're in the Premier League or Champions League, right? I mean, we all know every single game is very, very tough in every single competition. And for me, we need to score early on in the Champions League on Tuesday nights. Just kill the nerves, get the team, the fans behind us. Going to be a home game. I think at Emirates, we've been just phenomenal, right? And I think the fans really play. Like, you can really feel it. I don't live in London, and I can feel it through the TV screen. So I'm sure everyone in that stadium can really feel it, right? Like, it's very, very powerful. And it keeps, we keep recycling, and like we keep coming back at you. Like, teams cannot hold the ball. They clear it. We win it back. Saliba, Gabriel, we start all over again. And we keep penetrating until we basically like smash your door down. So we just need to have that attitude on Tuesday. 1 goal, 2 goal, kill the tie, keep the ball, play it simple, and just, kill the game. We have to show some maturity. We've been showing it in the Premier League, but we still haven't shown that maturity in Europe. And it's a perfect opportunity for us on Tuesday to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we know we lost 1-0 against them at their place, but you know what? They got lucky. And, we're going to show you kind of how we did against West Ham, man. We punished West Ham. I think we really knew that those 2 games they beat us, we shouldn't have allowed that. And we really gave them a thrashing, man, 6-0.
What do you make of this? Big up Inner Circle. Like he's obviously alluding to the Premier League, and obviously in an ideal world, we'd love to go as far as we can in the Premier and the champs, and we're probably the underdogs in the Prem, regardless of where we are. And obviously the Champions League is a different ball game, as you've just said. But I think he said something interesting here, where he said, "I would happily tank the Porto game now that we have fate in our own hands." Where are you at that? I don't want to quite say throw the champs, but would you throw the Champions League and throw all the eggs into the Prem basket?
Bro, what do you think? What do you think? Impossible. This comment is trash. This comment is it's not possible.
Big up in the circle.
Look, guys. We are a top team. We want to win every single trophy. It doesn't really matter. Of course, we won the FA Cup a lot of times now. If we win it, so be it. It's not the end of the world. It's still a good trophy. The Energy Cup, the Mickey Mouse Cup that Man U, boasts about winning all the time. Look, I would take it. Obviously, it's not the two trophies that I want. I want the Premier League and the Champions League. I would never throw any game. It doesn't matter what game it is. It could even be the Carabao Cup. I would not throw a game. So we should be playing our strongest team and trying to win every single game until the end of the season.
What do you actually expect from Porto, man? Because I expect us to kind of do what we've done against Newcastle. Not so much Brentford, but to a degree where we start fast, we're intense, we're feeding off the energy levels. But what do you expect? Like, do you expect Porto to come here, low and mid blocks, just stifle out the place, rely on a counter-attack? Do you think they'll be any different? What do you think of the actual game on Tuesday? And also on top of that, do you think there's an issue? Because we played on Saturday. Obviously, it's now Sunday. We got Monday to train, and then we've got Tuesday. Arteta said we've got one of the finished squads, and it's a fast turnaround, bro.
So I'll answer that question first. When we talk about the big leagues and the big clubs, we know you play twice a week. Like, we can't complain about the schedule. It is what it is. If we're a big club, we just got to do the business. We don't really complain about refs. Like, we haven't been complaining about refs at all because we just completely take them out of
yesterday
the
I was complaining about the ref, but generally I'm in agreement with
but
you.
No, I'm not saying that the refs are not bad. The refs are definitely bad.
Just getting on with it.
Good. We are so good that they don't really matter in our games because we just kill teams. So even if we don't get decisions our way, we still kill it. So yeah, I mean, for me, I think they're playing park the bus Mourinho style, and they're gonna hit us on the counter. That's what they're gonna go for. They know as well, probably from analysis, that corners they need to, and set plays, they just need to keep us off that. They can't give us any cheap set plays because we are very dangerous, the most dangerous in the Premier League and in England, right? So I think that's going to be the tactics, and they're just going to hit us on the counter with speed. And yeah, I'm just really hoping Raya has a good game. Ramsdale, obviously we saw what he did. We could talk about that a bit later, but I think Raya can't be off his line in this game. I think he's going to want to be, because we're going to be wanting pressure and putting a lot of long balls into Kai Havertz, get the second ball, and then try to make something from it. So yeah, I just see a kind of an ugly goal. If they score a goal, it's going to be an ugly goal, one of those that we hit us on the counter, maybe chip Raya or something like that. But otherwise, I mean, we've been doing really well with preventing teams from having any really dangerous chances against us. Completely 0 shots on target most of the game. XG very, very low against us. Best in the league. Bro, how can you there's nothing bad to say about Arsenal defensively and in attack.
I can't disagree with any of that, man. And it's crazy. I think obviously we have to pay homage to Liverpool and City, what they've done in the league, and all of those things. But I think to a degree we're the envy. We haven't accomplished anything. I'm not here to say we're the biggest and baddest, but when you look at, as you said, the defensive metrics, the attacking metrics, the way Mikel Arteta is playing, I do think a lot of people are jealous. I do think rightly so. We're finally doing what Arsenal Football Club's doing. Before I carry on, big up rants for the raid as well. Let's get on to Ramsdale, man. Obviously, he made the mistake. He recovered. He recovered well. He made some big saves. He denied that crazy goal from Toney. I don't know where you're at, but where I'm at with it, I think it's a mixture of things. I think obviously he's not played that often, so he looks a bit shaky. I think Ramsdale's got those moments in him. I think there's a lot of psychological issues when you're not playing. But then I could also argue, when I look at Ramsdale generally, there was a couple of passes that he tried to play that are Raya-esque that didn't come off. There was a fantastic throw for Trossard early doors, and then obviously he's made the mistake. So you could argue maybe he was too confident, but where you at with Ramsdale, man? And where you at with Ramsdale making another mistake in potentially what could be his last game, bro?
So it's funny because I played footy this morning, and the first I saw a fellow Arsenal fan, and the first thing he said is, "Hey, did you see Ramsdale last night?" And really, my opinion on this DG is that look, it's been a really harsh time for Ramsdale. I think a lot of people, they don't give him credit, and we discard him like he hasn't done anything for this club. I'm not taking away anything from the fact that was a terrible mistake and he has it in him. But we also need to consider the fact that this guy is, in terms of if we look back at all our goalkeepers, he's top 5 Arsenal goalkeepers? Probably. I mean, we can negotiate that. In the we think about Szczesny.
What metric? What metric?
No, I mean, just in general, as a goalkeeper, that like gives you confidence as a fan. You don't feel like, oh, he's apart from the penalty thing, because but I think that's most Arsenal goalkeepers, apart from Martinez, we struggle with them saving penalties. But in general, like, he's been a good servant. We spent 30 million on him. You know what I mean?
He has been a good servant. It's just the system's left him.
We talk about Monreal, we talk about Koscielny, we talk about Mertesacker, Tierney. I mean, all these players, he falls into that group for me. So look, I think his value is not 50 million that we would probably could have gotten at the beginning of the season, but I'd be looking for around 30 to 40 million. If it's Chelsea, maybe we get the 50 million, but probably 40 million this summer. I think he deserves to start. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I have a good bond with him, like emotionally connected with him, and I think he has that with the fans, and that doesn't come very often, right? Like, it's very special players that can really do that. And I totally agree with you, DG, bro. The guy doesn't play for 4 or 5 months. Like, what are you expecting? He knows that this is like his last game. He knows that there's all this pressure on him. Like, yeah, it's a bad mistake, but like, come on, we all knew that it was bound to happen, right? It happened even in the previous game against Brentford when he played as well. At that time we got it away with it, right? Because Declan Rice saved it off the line. So look, on Ramsdale, I personally think there's a lot of hate on him. I respect him as a player. I think he's been a good servant to the club. Best of luck to him in the future, and I think Raya has definitely shown and proven that Arteta made the right decision. I mean, we all know, the super fans of Arsenal know that we wanted David Raya before we signed Aaron Ramsdale, right? So it's no surprise that now he's actually come in, that he's starting every game. I also want to add, DG, that I think next season, whoever the backup goalkeeper is going to be, I think he's going to get way more games than Ramsdale. That's my personal feeling. I think he'll have more FA Cup games, League Cup games. I don't know. I feel like Ramsdale really had like little to no games. It's kind of like ESR vibes, right? Like, you could bring him on, you could give him those games, but as Arteta, you're not choosing to. I don't know the specific reasons why, but obviously he doesn't rate him, or there's something that's, as soon as you have a rift with Arteta, it's very hard to come back from it. You're pretty much out. You're pretty much out the door from there, right? So that could kind of have been the situation with Ramsdale. I feel like he didn't get as many games as he could, and we also got knocked out very early on in all these competitions. So next season, whoever the backup goalkeeper is, it could be a pretty decent goalkeeper, and we say, hey, you know what? You're gonna get 40% of the games, maybe an odd Premier League game here and there. Come to Arsenal. We have that pull, especially if we win one major trophy at the end of the season. I think we have a lot of pull, something we didn't have a few years ago. We're looking at the top of the top now, the creme de la creme, and we used to dream like that. Now if you said like Neymar, Suarez, all the top players, Lewandowski, players that we could never dream of getting back in the day when we were getting spanked 5-1 against Bayern. I mean, in this day and age in 2024, Arsenal can pretty much sign anybody in the world.
Oh, I think we need to count our chickens a bit, because I don't think we can cycle in Mbappe on the free transfer. But generally, I agree.
But no one can sign Mbappe. You need to have the money, and there's also politics in play. So Mbappe is kind of off the limit for us, I think. But it'd be great to see him at Arsenal. If TT can pull that off, that'd be great.
As you said with Ramsdale, I think Ramsdale can leave with his head held high. He's had some good moments. Obviously, people said back-to-back relegations. He was essentially, as you said, option B. We wanted Raya. In hindsight, when I look at when Ramsdale got a new contract on top of what he's done up until this point, I always think it was the beginning of the end. I think if you want to achieve things, whether it's Arteta, whether it's been Jurgen Klopp, or even Pep when he got rid of Joe Hart, you need to make unpopular decisions. Now, Mikel Arteta hasn't got everything right, but the difficult decisions he's got right at this moment in time is working with Kai Havertz. Obviously, the money on Declan Rice, keeping Granit Xhaka when it looked like he was gone, alienating Aubameyang, moving away from Ramsdale and Toney. I think so far, so good with those systems that, even when he brought Jesus and Zinchenko to a point, and it looks like we're kind of moving on from them being starters. I think Arteta has made these difficult decisions. I don't know how you feel, but I don't feel like this moment in time, Raya is up there and Ramsdale's down there. That being said, I don't think if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. If you live in a house with 4 people and there's one loaf of bread, fair would be equal slices, but you wouldn't necessarily be full, would you? So I understand it. I think in an ideal world, everyone should be given game time and stuff. And while you need rotation and you need a squad and all of that, and Arteta said we've got one of the finished squads, there's something to be said in relationships all over the field. You look at our back five, Raya's been a part of that with the 4 in front of him. Raya with his distribution. I think the key reason as to why Raya plays ahead of Ramsdale is Ramsdale will leave, like when things go wrong, he won't stick to the script. Like, 8 out of 10 times, Ramsdale will do what Arteta demands. 11 out of 10 times, Raya will keep to the script. And as you said, he wanted him as number one. Do you feel Raya has convinced everyone, essentially? Because some would argue, while we can see his ball playing ability, obviously there's been some clean sheets, he's yet to kind of have that Aaron Ramsdale at Anfield last season, for example, one of those games where our keeper has saved us. Now, we're a better team. But naturally, yeah, exactly. So, do you think the jury's still out on Raya? Do you still think he's faultless?
Oh man, it's actually such a sensitive topic, and it's one that I run in my head quite a bit. I think, look, I don't disrespect Raya. I think he's a really, really good goalkeeper, but I think we have been so good that it's hard for me to actually make a real assessment, if I'm being honest, right? Because he hasn't really had to do much. Hey, maybe that's because he's just that good, and the defense just trusts him that much, and it's kind of going under the radar and unnoticed. These maybe small things, but in general, like, we haven't seen him make any crazy saves. I mean, he barely faces any shots on target in the game. So hey, look, I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying, it's kind of hard to say whether Ramsdale would have had the same kind of impact if he was playing. Probably not, because the distribution and stuff is not as good. But I think he hasn't had too much to do, right? That's no disrespect to him. I still think he's a great keeper, but we really need to see him being tested. I think if we play Madrid and we play Vinicius and Rodrigo and that type of, in the Champions League.
We get past Porto first, bro, but I hear you.
No, I know, but you know what I mean? When he starts facing way more clinical wingers and forward players, then we need to see, okay, like, he's making really, really great stops. The other point I want to add is that, look, there's an age gap between the two, right? So you can't expect Ramsdale to be at Raya's level. Like, he's way more experienced, and he has that. And for me, as I said, I think Ramsdale been a great servant. Raya's definitely proving his worth. I think honestly, something I've also been thinking about, which is a good point. If we didn't buy Raya and didn't do the deal that we did at the beginning of the window, he would be worth 50 million right now. So we actually did really good the way we managed this deal, because now we're going to get him for 30 million, and nobody can really argue with that. I think that's a steal at this moment. If you're looking at it, he has the most clean sheets in the Premier League. We got him for 30 million and didn't even have to pay it outright. We did a 3 million loan, and we're going to pay 27 million this summer. So kudos to Arteta and Edu, right? That's a super good play on my part in terms of transfer strategy. So yeah.
I mean, obviously, unfortunately, Timber got the big injury, but he was looking good in the summer. Declan Rice is doing Declan Rice things. Kai Havertz is in a real purple patch of form. And I'd say Raya looks settled. So I think our summer signings, it looks like we've had a good summer in hindsight, and they're all in good regards. I would say the one thing that kills me with Ramsdale, it's like being a little kid and watching a heavyweight boxer, and he was your idol, your champion, etc. And they've just stayed in the game too long. I think Ramsdale's, personally for me, it's becoming a bit too much of a charity case. Like, I like the camaraderie. Mistakes happen and we get through it. And as a lot of the comments are saying, yesterday he showed the good, bad, and the ugly. But Ramsdale's becoming a charity case. I look back at it, could have been West Ham in the League Cup. I don't think it was. I think it was Brentford away, ironically, where he's being clapped by his fans. I mean, his teammates and whatnot. It just feels like he's a bit of a charity case. He can leave with his head held high. I want to ask you, what do you make of Gabriel in particular? Because I do think Arsenal fans are starting to give him his clout. There was a time where people thought Pablo Mari was better than him. I think if the season ended today, I don't think he'd win it. But I think Big Gabriel, as well as Saliba, Saka and Rice, they all have shouts of being Arsenal's player of the season. But where are you at with Gabriel? In fact, where are you at with not only Gabriel, our partnership at centre-half?
Yeah, I'll answer your previous question as well. In terms of charity case, we still have El Neni and Cedric. People keep saying, "Oh, we should keep El Neni," but guys, come on, man. How many years? Like, we're past that now. We don't need to.
You got time for sentiment, man.
Exactly. We're not a charity case, and Nelson and Nketiah also probably fall into that as well. I think it's really sad that now we're saying Ramsdale has. I'm not disagreeing with you, but it is sad the way this has ended. But yeah, in terms of Gabriel and Saliba, man, in terms of Gabriel, 27 million. I mean, from the moment he came in, his first game pretty much scored from the corner against Fulham. I still remember that because I was just like, okay, we finally got a real baller. We had Mustafi, we had Koscielny, we've had a lot of. Actually, not Koscielny is a really good player, but for me, Mustafi.
Nah, man. After the way Koscielny left his football club, we'll slander him, man. He got headlocked by it there. He bottled it against Atletico Madrid. He bottled it against Birmingham. I'm slandering Koscielny, even if I know the truth, bro. I'm slandering him.
That's fair. But so Gabriel's been a complete change from that. I think it's. Arsenal focus specifically in their transfer strategy on athletic players, right? That is what has changed our team. Look at the size of our team. Look at the strength of our team. In the past, under Wenger, at the end of his tenure, we were good, like playing beautiful football, one touch, really small players that were diminutive, could turn, had a lot of, power going forward. But like we got bullied against a lot of teams, and we know that that's the honest truth. And we couldn't compete against the bigger teams as well because we just get outdone. We wouldn't win a lot of the headers, and we've got completely shifted to now being like the best team from corners. And I think that's heavily on Gabriel and Saliba being such aerial powers. For me, I think Gabriel probably better than Saliba because he scores a lot of goals from corners. And I think when you talk about playing on the ground and playing aggressive, Gabriel has it's like yin and yang with Gabriel and Saliba. Gabriel is the aggressor. He tries to win the ball before the attacker gets a touch, and Saliba is the one that's just kind of pinning you down, jumping over you, winning the header, cleaning up, recycling, and then we go again, right? These two are instrumental, for Arsenal. I think they're the foundations. Yes, we still need to talk about how good Odegaard is. There's a lot of other, Martinelli.
We'll get onto midfielders. Don't worry.
But Gabriel and Saliba, DG, best center back partnership in the league. I mean, you can't question it, really.
Would you make a Benjamin White? Because he's reacted very well, man.
I've always rated him. I've always backed him. When people were saying, oh, when he had his bad run of games.
2 assists yesterday as well.
He's been really, really good. Some of the things that he does, I think people forget that this guy's not a right back. This guy's playing out of position. He was playing center back for us.
I disagree. I think he's statistically played more games as a right back still. When you look at Newport, Leeds, and Brighton, I do think obviously when he came to the club, he was playing centre half with Gabriel. Clearly that wasn't the right partnership, but I think right back is his, man. I'm not saying he's the biggest and baddest, and Gareth Southgate has to call him. But where you look at English performing players, you've got young Kobe Mainoo, you've got Saka, you've got Ross Barkley, you've got Foden, you've got John Stones, and I think you've got Benjamin White. He's playing out of his skin. From a selfish point of view with Benjamin White, I'd love for him to be in the England squad, bro. But for a regular that plays week in, week out, for him not going to probably get that call up at international duty, I'm happy with it. And he's another one like Ramsdale, that the Gary Nevilles and Jamie Carragher's, they came out and they condemned them on that day against Brentford. But Benjamin White don't get his flowers, man, for how he plays as an inverted player, for the intelligence he plays, with the consistency, for his durability.
Dark arts, 50 million well spent, IQ is really, really high, right? When you talk about, when you talk about any sport at the highest level, right, there's a fine line between cheating, right, and doing things to put opposition off balance, right? And he is the perfect example for that. I love him for that. I think that personality and character adds a lot to the team. And for me, when I was referring to him as like, look, he's playing out of position, I totally agree. I think moving forward, he's a right back. But I think if Saliba didn't break into this team, I don't think that he would have ever been a right back for us. I think he would have had to build that partnership with Gabriel. So I think it's been a kind of blessing in disguise for us that Saliba obviously stayed with us. He's amazing. Didn't have to bet him in at all. He kind of hit the ground running.
On the right loans, Arteta integrated him at the right moment.
DG, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Ben White is probably up there with one of the best utility players that Arsenal's had. And I can think of like Chamberlain, Maitland-Niles. I think, Ben White gives me that vibe. Like, I feel like I could play him anywhere across the back four, even as a CDM, and this guy would give a 7 out of 10 performance. Because that's just how good he is.
I'd throw that to Timber and Tomiyasu, but I'm happy with Benjamin White, man.
I think Timber's going to take some time. Timber's going to take some time. Timber's going to take some time. We can't expect him.
I'll write him off for this season. I'd love to see him back, but as you know yourself, it's a massive ACL. We're in the thick of it. He has been registered in the Champions League, so provided we go through, he could play. But, typically on the route to recovery to ACLs, you do pick up other knocks. Probably needs to get some game time for the 21s and whatnot. I see a comment here, and 2 people have been speaking about it. Andrea said, the funny thing is Arsenal are looking better without the 2 City rejects, Jesus and Zinchenko. And someone said, would you sell them? Now, for me, I'm more open to selling Zinchenko than Gabriel Jesus if rumors are true of 45 million. But I'd keep Zinchenko for the squad, if I'm honest with you. I think the system's left him. I think he was the first one to integrate this inverted fullback at the club. And with Timber, Tomiyasu, a bit different, but Kyrgios playing left back and asking Benjamin White to do it, we've naturally got to make them squad players. And I think people are harsh on Jesus, man. You look at when we beat Man United, you look at his performances against City. Yes, the man needs to
League, bro.
Exactly, Champions League as well. Yes, Kai Havertz is doing amazing, but we need a squad. Once again, Arteta has said we've got to finish squad. You need a squad. There's 38 Premier League games and however much in all the other comps. But yeah, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think as I told you, DG, for me, El Neni, You know, Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, all these guys need to be sold this summer. And I think
Oh, don't say that
Zinchenko and
about
his
Smith
no,
Rowe,
no, no.
man.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Look,
You're right. You're right.
come on.
Sadly.
Well, there's not even debating here. These guys are like, this
He's our
done.
number
We need to
10
move
though,
them
man.
on.
He was there for the trenches. I know. It's
Bro,
pure
come on. We need
sentiment.
to. These guys are like,
Arteta's
we don't
ruthless.
even
I'm
look.
not.
Look, DG. Can I tell you something? If
Go ahead.
Arteta's not even like thinking of bringing you on as a sub, like, bro, what are you doing at my club? I'm sorry. Like, if I'm not myself even expecting you to come off the bench in any single game, then what are you doing here, right? Like, we gotta be real. Like, El
To be
Neni,
fair, Reece
Cedric,
Nelson coming
great
on before
guys,
you. That's signs of
great
the end, man.
professionals, but like, dude. You need to go somewhere else and let us move on from you. I mean, that's just my personal feeling. I think it's quite a fair one. You know, no disrespect to them, great servants of the club, but we're moving past that. And I think that shift now is, okay, Jesus, Zinchenko, Vieira, these type of players, maybe Reece Nelson stays, they become the new kind of squad rotation
On the
players. And
peripheral
for me,
things, yeah.
yeah, for me, I agree with you. If I were to sell the two, I would probably sell Zinchenko. And because I want to sell Nketiah, I make Jesus the backup to whoever the shiny new striker we buy this summer is, right?
Speaking of striker, one love Chris Clark for the super chat, man. He said Toney is the answer. He starts in our team. I don't know where you look at it, yeah. Like, let me get a couple of your thoughts, yeah. Because for me, I wouldn't be against Toney. I think there's no in between when people talk about Toney. People move like he's the Messiah. Some people act like he's crap. Osman's linked with us, Vlahovic, Sesko, all of these guys. I would love a striker. I do think when you look at it, we need a striker that's going to get 20 plus goals. But when you look at what Arteta demands of a striker, whether it's Kai Havertz, Trossard up there, or Jesus, it's almost a selfless act. The difference with Trossard and Jesus, Kai Havertz wants to get in the box, but it's a bit of a selfless act. So it's a bit of a weird one asking Arteta, trying to look at what Arteta wants from a striker. Personally, now I'm of the thought of someone like who I don't know religiously, the Gokeres guy from Sporting Lisbon. He can play up front as well as out wide. So is it a case of we get another versatile attacker that can share the workload? But what would you make of Ivan Toney at the carpet?
Yeah, man. I think it's a safe bet. I'm not saying that it's the one that I want, but if Arsenal were to go for it, I think it'd be a safe bet because we know he plays in the Premier League, you know, and he's English, obviously, so you won't have much adjustment. I think something else that we should consider is the price tag, right? Obviously, if it's 50 million, that's why I would say it's a safe bet. Played in the Premier League, 50 million. If you're not going to go spend that 100 million and you want to save, you know, the whatever the difference is that you would spend on an Osimhen and actually go get Frankie de Jong or whoever that midfielder is going to be, we don't know yet. It's still way too early in terms of, you know, transfer rumors and stuff. But for me, I think Toney could be a safe bet. I think recently in the last month since he's come back, obviously he hasn't done really, really well. But let's remember that he plays for Brentford, bro. Imagine he was playing in this Arsenal
at this
team,
moment in time, to be fair.
In this Arsenal team with the amount of chances that we create, you know what? And look what everyone said about Havertz. So, you know, if Arteta wants him, he obviously sees something in him. We have to trust him. I think he could turn into a really dangerous player at Arsenal. But it could also go the other way, and he could be kind of like a Lacazette, right? He's just a hold-up guy. He comes in, collects the ball.
Could be a good plan B without necessarily disrupting the starting 11. But I do want a forward or an attacking player that I'm not necessarily saying he has to steal shirts, but he's genuinely going to be a curtain raiser in that starting 11 in the same way of Rice. What do you make of our midfield, bro? Because before we get on to Kai Havertz, because Declan Rice is Declan Rice, Jorginho's come in. What do you make of our midfield?
Okay, let's talk about Declan Rice because
and big up Odegaard as well.
Yeah, we can talk about all of them individually because I also want to talk to you about how, you know, does Thomas Partey come into this team? It's a really difficult choice.
I think Thomas Partey comes into the team, but I don't know about now.
Yeah, it's tough for me because I don't want to change anything because we're doing so well. It's like, why would you change anything? But like, it's Thomas Partey, man. Like, I want to see him and Rice. That's what I've been wanting since June and previous season.
We've all wanted that, man. We've all wanted that. That's something that whets the appetite, bro.
So in terms of Declan Rice, I was always certain that the 105 million was going to be worth it. I didn't actually realize how good he was going to be. Maybe I didn't know how good he was going to be, but this fast, you know, this is what we expected when we signed Pepe for 72 million. We broke our record. We're like, whoever this player is going to come in that we spend a lot of money on, he's going to completely transform the team. Be a madness, and this is exactly why you pay the big bucks, right? For experienced players, I think Declan Rice has been absolutely phenomenal, already beating his assist and goal records at West Ham.
Scoring week in, week out, man. Like Chelsea, United, couple ones against, I'm sure, Luton, obviously scored against Brentford. Like, the biggest testament I can give Declan Rice is it's like you've always been here. You're doing everything you're doing in a West Ham shirt and more. And clearly you're an intelligent man because whatever Arteta is demanding of you when you play in that 8 role, it's amazing. And obviously you're taking set pieces. My only issue with Arteta would be When I look at our defense, I think it's a case of we need one more body because it's been Cedric on the bench last couple of times. He's the only one and he won't be there. Up front, we know we need a striker, but collectively, there's good attacking options. In midfield, there's more questions than answers. Declan Rice is great. The only questions can be how good can he be? Jorginho can do a job, but he's not a 38-game man and age isn't kind to him. Partey's a quality player, but if you're never fit, you're irrelevant. And Arteta's had to do a bit more. El Nene's a good guy, but nice guys finish last. That's where we need that. And where you got Odegaard, Declan Rice, and at the moment, Jorginho, if we could get that long-term partner, we'd be lit. And Edu and Arteta were midfielders, man. They were.
So, look, for me, my priority is the striker. The big striker. That's the first priority for me this window. And I would get 2 midfielders. You know, we still need to consider.
I don't think we will, though, man.
No, I know, but I would want more than a center back because we have so many, and I think they're all going to be. I know a lot of them are injury prone, but we have 2 in each position across the back 4. We don't have a replacement for every single midfielder, so I think we need another 8 and probably a backup for Declan Rice if Thomas Partey is going to be sold this summer, which I think he probably will be.
Yeah, if we can get decent off and shed his wages, he's gone, man.
And Vieira will always be the backup for Odegaard. And we know Odegaard plays almost every single game. So Vieira is going to be one of those guys who gets maybe like 30% of the game time in an entire season. And then Odegaard plays 70%. So for me, I would definitely look into the midfielders. My only question now is, do you bring Thomas Partey back for the last 10 games against Man City, or do you keep Jorginho in there and don't change anything?
I can't lie. I'm conflicted because obviously, if it ain't broke, don't fix it until something goes left. But Arteta knows when to change things. And for me, it's a case with Jesus, with Zinchenko, whenever Tomiyasu. It's how they've been training. And obviously, we've got a bit of a break now, obviously, until we play City. It's how they look over the week, really and truly. I do think with City away, I would tend to lean towards Jorginho just because when it's like a chess match, that's Jorginho's bread and butter. But when I look at the Liverpool City game today, to take nothing away from Jorginho, there was a lot of turnovers and that's not a strength of Jorginho's, but that's where you put Partey in. But again, he's not played. So it's very, very difficult. And I don't know where I'm at because sometimes when you're in bad form, the best thing that can happen is you play quickly. Obviously, when you're playing as we are, you want the games to come thick and fast. And I hope I wouldn't say we're going to run out of gas, but we have no choice but to be at a halt now because the Chelsea game isn't being played. So I don't know, man. I mean, Arteta always talks about Thomas Partey being vital and things. If you put a gun to my head and we need to get 3 points, I'd probably lean towards Thomas Partey starting, man. To go with what you said with midfield, I agree with you. I'd love another 8 and a 6. I just look at it in Arteta's mind. Kai Havertz can play there. Obviously, Jorginho's going to be given a new deal. You've got Declan Rice. You could replace El Nene and things, but I think he's just going to say, you know what, we get one more in, maybe a winger / striker, and we'll see where it goes from there, man. It's an interesting dynamic.
Maybe Lokonga gets a chance next season to be part of the squad.
Sell him, man. Sell him. He might. But sell him, man. Sell him. Sometimes when a man's put themselves in the shop window like he has, just sell him.
Like Willock.
He should be shining at Luton, bro.
Yeah, no, for real. I agree with you. I wouldn't risk it. I think take advantage of this good run of form he's had. Probably one of the highest market values that he's probably had since he signed for Arsenal. Yeah. So I'd try to get 25 million for him. 30,
just give him my 20 million pound back. He really is the next Yaya Toure. No, well, you made a Kai Havertz, man. We need to talk about Kai. Like, be honest. Man. Was you convinced by his signing in the summer? Where are you at with him now? Do you think, as great as he is, and he's showing his versatility, and he's backing up Arteta for signing him for 65 million? Do you feel we need to calm it down a bit with Kai Havertz? What's all your Kai Havertz thoughts?
Yeah, man. I think when we signed him, I won't lie, I obviously wasn't the one that I was looking to sign. I think it just came out of the blue, right? And we know historically the signings that we've had with Chelsea have always been flops at Arsenal. So, we don't want to really be buying from Chelsea, especially their rejects. Good teams don't sell good players, right? That's what Man City said to us, right? We're not going to sell you our best 2 players if you know what I mean.
So that's a striker you can't score and a defender you can't defend, really, if I'm being harsh, even though I don't believe that. But yeah, it is.
And the price tag was quite hefty as well, man. 60 million. That was a lot. So look, my honest opinion is that when he came in, it wasn't really the guy that I was looking for, but I was happy to give him a chance. And I didn't have an opinion on him. I was like, look, I'm going to watch him play the first 10 games, kind of make an assessment. And the first 10 games, he had some really good games. I think overall for me, he wasn't reaching expectation. I was expecting him to be more clinical, but I definitely saw what he was already bringing to the team in terms of like being the target man, actually winning headers. I mean, his confidence in the last...
You get stuck 15, in.
Yeah, his
fitted in, now he's standing out.
100%. The confidence is raised completely. He's doing tricks that I've never seen him do before. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know you had that in your locker. Okay.
Shows what confidence can do, innit, really?
I'm starting to discover more about him, right? The only thing I would say with Kai Havertz right now is he still needs to improve his shooting for me. He's getting a lot of 1v1 chances, and he doesn't give me the same feeling as Martinelli and Saka. When those two are one-on-one,
he's got too much time to think. He struggles.
I know he's scoring. Havertz shoots it straight at the straight at the keeper, tries to dink him, misses the goal completely, or makes the wrong decision, right? So I think overall right now I'll give him a 7 out of 10. I think that's quite a fair rating. I think it's still too early to say, yeah, he was such a good signing. But yeah, right now he's looking like a really good signing. He's looking like he was worth it. He looks like he understands the instructions. He's built the chemistry with the team. He understands how Arteta wants to play. He's running off the ball. I mean, we know, as you said earlier, DG, that's like a minimum requirement in this team. If you aren't running your socks off till you drop to the ground, you're not playing, right? We know that. So yeah, I think overall he's been a good signing. And yeah, you got to trust Arteta. He's pretty much got it bang on right with every signing that he's got, pretty much like 80% of them. So yeah, man, it's really looking good for us. We spent a lot of money, so I was a bit nervous when I was seeing him play in the Xhaka position. I think personally he shouldn't be playing the 8. I think we should just use him as the 9, and if he's not starting, bring him on as the impact sub. You know, people will say, "Oh no, but we spent 60 million. How can we have him on the bench?" Hey, when you become a big team like Man City, you have 100 million Grealish on the bench. It's going to be the same thing with Kai Havertz at some point, right? As this team continues to evolve and we get better and better players, someone like Kai Havertz will be on the bench. It will be someone that comes on to impact the game, right? So still too early to make a final assessment of him, but dude, you have to give him his props. He's looking really, really good. And I'm happy as an Arsenal fan because at the end of the day, I just want my club to win. I don't really care if it's Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, whoever scores. Everybody's contributing, right, to this team. And that's beautiful. DG, it's not like in the past where we used to just rely on Van Persie or Fabregas or Adebayor or whoever the case was, or Sanchez also. We used to depend on maybe like 2-3 players and like pray.
Up until last season, still to a degree, but up until last season, if Saka didn't turn it on, we're fucked.
Yeah. No, this season, I mean, look, if the front three is not going through, you have the danger of a Declan Rice long range shot. You have a set piece, Gabriel and Saliba. You know, so we have different options of scoring, which in the past I don't think we had players that could just step up like that. Now anyone in the team, even Ben White, can step up out of nowhere. Tomiyasu, and that makes us a very dangerous team.
Facts, man, and I don't think I can disagree with that. I think Kai Havertz is a bit of a weird one where I just accept he's this versatile guy who'll go through runs of form. You know, Chelsea fans have said he turns into a different player in March. Fortunately, that's happened. I think I'm like you. I think his best position is a striker. Do I think that's him long term? Long may this continue, but no, I think he's a striker. But I do accept there's going to be games in terms of the fixture calendar list. He's probably going to play in the 8. That's why I think we're only going to get one midfielder. If he could improve his build-up play, I think we'd have a quality player. But I just think when he's kind of free to roam and, you know, make tactical fouls and get stuck in like that, and obviously he's finding his feet in front of goal, I think that's that. I think what we can do with Kai Havertz, as long as we don't talk about his price tag, I think he's doing the business really and truly, and this is probably his best period. It's like what Pele said. I think Newcastle away, he didn't stand out, but he kind of won some Arsenal fans over because he's down for the cause. Like a comment that's always stuck with me. Exactly. Like a comment for me that's what stuck with me, is Mikel Arteta when he's like, he's a man you would take to war. When I first heard that, I was like, oh, Arteta, I think you're selling a bit of dreams, but yeah, but you're doing your thing. My last question before I let you get out of it. Obviously, we've done this a bit backwards where we've spoken about Porto, but what did you make of the Brentford game? I told fans on a watch along, I think this is going to be a sober reminder that you can't just run around and just win 5 and 6s. I have to give credit to Brentford because they didn't have their strongest team. I think their game plan kind of worked, but I'll give credit to us, man. We obviously got the win. We reacted to the setback with Ramsdale. In other days, in other seasons, kind of what you said, you know, it would have ended 1-1. Ramsdale's the fall guy. Now we've got the result. It's happy days. We ask questions of Ramsdale and we keep it moving. Crucially, we got 3 points, so I'm happy. But what did you make of the Brentford game, bro?
Yeah, DG, you know, we're getting used to spanking teams, right? Like 5-6-0, 4-0. We're spoiled, so spoiled. So now we go into every game thinking, oh, watch, after 15 minutes, it's going to be 2-0. We're giving you spanking. So, look, I was always confident that we were going to win. I was predicting 3-1. I thought Toney was going to score just for the script. I think you did, and you almost did. Big up Ramsdale for that save. Oof. Yeah. By the way, that's an insane shot. He realized
with
that Ramsdale was on his line, like throughout the game, and he said to himself, if I get any chance, I'm going to smack it first time. And that's what he did, and he almost caught Ramsdale out. That's a really high intelligent player. So look, I mean, for me, 3-1 was kind of what I was going for. I think we should have gotten penalties. I think something that I mentioned that I think a lot of people aren't is that
100%.
this team is completely removing refs out of the game. We should have maybe 2 penalties. And in previous seasons, we'd complain, say, oh, we lost the game or we drew the game because of the ref, blah, 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 blah. Don't get me wrong. As I said, the refs are absolutely atrocious. This league needs international refs. Everybody knows that. We're tired of the PGMO.
I think that's the biggest point you've made on this live stream. That's a shout.
Bro, we're tired of it. So for me, something that I'm really, really grateful for is that this team is just taking the ref completely out of it. We win on our own terms. We don't let refs decide whether we're going to win a game or not.
We control our own narrative to a degree.
Exactly. And that shows maturity for me. And I think it in the long run, we're going to pull a lot of wins like this. I think even going into the last 10 games of the season, they're going to be more nervy games where we're not winning 3-0, 4-0, and we're going to just have to squeeze maybe a 2-1. And I'm quite confident, around the 85th minute, I was still okay. I won't lie. I was a bit nervous.
Yeah, you start to get nervous.
Yeah, I was starting to get nervous, but I was still said, hey, you know what? We just need one chance and we'll score. And then
unfortunately,
out of nowhere, Havertz thinking he's Olivier Giroud and getting the knock-in.
Keep thinking you're Giroud, bro. That's what he should be. He should be. I don't think he'll ever have the link-up play like Giroud, even though his link-up play is okay.
Giroud's underrated, bro.
Bro, they're the vids he should be watching. Kai should just watch Giroud vids from now to the end of the season, man, because you got a good run of playing up front, bro.
Over time, I really like people underrate Giroud. Giroud was a good player for us, and he scored a lot of really crazy goals for us.
He was the main source for goals,
bro. He wasn't the finished article, but he was a good player for us. I won't deny it. So yeah, man. I think moving forward, we just need to do the business on Tuesday. As you said, I'm quite nervous as well for 3 weeks of no game. It kind of stops our momentum and stuff, but at least we can just milk the top of the league.
I don't look at the league table, but if we were there,
another 2 weeks. And yeah, bro, moving forward, like, look, we're doing really, really well, and we just need to keep it up. We just need to continue putting pressure, having the home fans behind the team. I think everybody believes. And yeah, we go all the way to the end of the season and see if we can pick up one of the major trophies that we've been missing for so many years, 20 plus. And the other one's been dating us since Paris. So,
wait, listen, let's just try and get this Prem over the line. One day we can dream about
the I have to ask you one question though. Where's your boy ESR, man? I told you 1 year ago. I already knew from then. I could tell already, dude. I could tell Arteta didn't like him. He didn't rate him. I love the guy, and I know you love him too. He has potential, but dude, he's gonna be sold this summer. There's no way.
I don't think you don't rate him. I just think you haven't been able to stay fit. The system.
No, of course.
There's better players. Just the harsh reality of life, man, really. And it's I'm hoping on a miracle. I'm hoping Smith Rowe get an opportunity. But at the end of the day, you weren't signed for 65 million like Kai Havertz, so you weren't going to get your run there. Obviously, Jorginho is a better match for Declan Rice. It's the harsh reality of life, man. If he wants to be a squad player, then fair enough. But it's peak for Smith Rowe. Before I let you get out of here, give us a score prediction for Porto. I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal.
Oof, that's a good one. I'm feeling 3-0, but I'll go safe like you. I'll say 2-0.
There we have it, man. Before I let you get out of here, man, as usual, appreciative to have you back. Appreciative for your time. Let people know where they can find you, man. We got to do this again and again and again and again. Man.
So you can find me on Twitter at @Gooner. And yeah, thanks for having me, DG. Really enjoyed the chat. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Man. So yeah, people, again, his Twitter account will be in the description. I mean, the man said it himself, so you know where to find him. Let us know your thoughts. Big up you lot who are part of the channel and the DG Nation. Everyone who came over from Rance's stream, appreciative, and big up Rance. Make sure you're following and subscribing. Come on, you Gunners, it's happy days. But for now, like, comment, subscribe. We're out. Peace. Safe.
There's always just that active red defending. I think it's like